All right, I'm going to give you a bunch of penny stocks that I like. I could say they're my favorite penny stocks, all right? Now, Humacyte, these fuckers, they weren't always a penny stock. Now, I'm going to show you something that happens with biotechs. If you're interested in getting into the biotech investments, all right, be careful, because this is when they handed this application in, okay, for their Symvess veins. They made bioengineered human veins. Amazing. And then investor, they fall off because there's not any news on it. And then news came that people were expecting this to be this early approval. So the early approval was supposedly going to come on August 1st or something. And then all of a sudden, the FDA just didn't say anything. Didn't say why they needed more time, didn't say it was not approved, didn't say it was approved. It was a whole to-do. And then it just led to lack of investor confidence. They didn't get approved till here. And I thought for sure, okay, I was wrong about this. I thought for sure that HUMA would shoot like a motherfucker. For me, I just thought bioengineered veins, human veins, was a big deal. And you can find the research they were doing, the studies, they were doing their clinical trials in Israel and Ukraine. So you know that they were getting a lot. Well, the Israel one was not really publicized a lot. And the Ukraine one definitely was. But I think they didn't so much want to be publicizing the Israel thing. But, you know, what can you do? So, you know, they got a lot of practice. And then down. And then the sales. So they have finally reported their sales. So you could say that now people are starting to give them some respect. I think they should have so much more investors. But obviously, people aren't very big on science right now. That's part of the problem. And this would be their Symvess. Dude, now, what the biggest deal is right now, and I think that's what's really driving Friday's share prices, is because if they have collaborated with the Department of Defense in the past, and Humacytes, when they receive this approval, so now, not anyone can just go selling stuff to the Department of Defense. You need to have this special license, but it's very obvious, awarded large prototype of the year, and if you do Humacyte, Department of Defense, it's like, I don't know what they call it. It's not a cage. Multiple military treatment facilities have expressed interest in purchasing Symvess. To enable the purchases, they need to have an ECAT. They are expecting to be listed in the electronic catalog, ECAT, an internet system that provides Department of Defense and other federal agencies with access to manufacturers and distributors' products. That is huge. And we already know that their relationship with the Department of Defense goes back years. So I am very confident on Humacyte. So confident. All right, so Humacyte would be on. And then just to remind people, but I do talk about MBOT a lot. And they are still considered penny stock. Once they get their nanobots approved, it's going to be crazy. And as you can see here too, that was on the anticipation of the nanobot. This is from when they handed the application in. And then the application was accepted. That's always a big deal. And then people sell off because, as you can see, it'll take time. Now, when the MBOT nanobots get approved, it's possible we see a Humacyte situation. So, depending on how, and you want to be excited because surgical nanobots, surgery robots are crazy cool, and you would think people would, but like I said, same thing probably will happen with Humacyte, where people just sell off waiting for the sales or waiting for some other big news. So it's as a long-term hold. I view all these penny stocks as long-term holds. I would not be nervous. Well, you should always make sure you're checking in on a company, especially as a penny stock. But if I was going to hold these, I assume I can hold these for a long time and not worry about them. That is my assumption. And then they will profit in the coming year, 2 years, 3 years for some of these. But Humacyte, they're really on the cusp. And MBOT, I think they could rise faster than Humacyte because, number one, these devices are slightly different and easier to sell. They have different rules and regulations for selling devices. A little less rules and regulations. And MBOT is doing a lot of different stuff for their commercialization. They're hiring all these people in the pre-commercial stage, and they already have their robot stuff set up so that it can just be kind of distributed pretty fast. That's what I understand. So I still see a big shoot and then a sell-off. But if you're just holding it for a while and you don't care, you're not trying to swing it or anything, then that is fine. I think it's a nice safe hold. I mean, barring any accidents, like if it cuts somebody's wiener off or something, that would be horrible, obviously. But anyways, this one, I was on the fence somewhat over time because they are lacking well, they don't have an actual craft, but now they do. They did the test craft. Well, they did have they did their achieve historic transition to forward flight. So, New Horizon, they had advanced aerospace engineering. Today, they joined a small group of companies worldwide that achieved this critical technical milestone. So this is a technical milestone. So now they're going to be their aircraft. The transition phase was designed from beginning to be a non-event, as there are no complicated multi-copter rotating nacelles or heavy-tip wing mechanisms. So this is their aircraft. They tested it. It worked. And now you would just wait for basically airlines, because when we look at Archer, so Archer was once a penny stock. They were $3 back in October, and now you see them here, and this would be their craft here. So Archer and Joby, they both started as little teensy guys. Joby's still teensier. There you have Archer, penny stock range, and then you have Joby. Now what they do is they got partnerships with, because the airline industries are the ones that are going to be using these. You could say Joby got out of penny stock status faster than Archer, but as far as their rise, they got a little bit of strugglers. But if New Horizon Aircraft starts picking up partners, that's big. If I do partners, so I'm getting more and more confident on Horizon. But something they can always do, all of these penny stocks have this thing that they can do called a reverse split, okay? Now, an example of a reverse split would be TNXP. TNXP was a penny stock, and going back here, it would have read 19 cents. And this looks really strange because they went public or whatever, and then they were at 19 cents. So now if you, and they still look like this before TNXP, but wait, so then if you had, let me see what the reverse split did. As you can see, it doesn't like affect how much money you technically have. It just, because now I'm green on the TNXP, but I wasn't for a little while, but it'll take away your shares and it raises the price of the stock. So that the stock, because when they were at 19 cents, they kind of obviously, they couldn't be on certain, like the NASDAQ, they couldn't be on certain markets or exchanges. So if you would have had 100 shares of TNXP, you would then have one. Your money that you invested doesn't change at all, but the number of shares does, which some people don't always like this. So some people will sell out before a reverse split, but some people buy more. So when Tonix Pharmaceuticals announced their reverse split, it's hard to believe it could have dropped lower than it was at the time, but it did. And then there was like 10 cents. And then some people sell off because they're mad because they don't like it and they've been long-term retail holders. And then some people go and buy more because they know there's going to be a reverse split. They like the stock. They're confident in the stock. They don't care about the reverse split, which is hard to do. You would really have to have conviction in a stock. But that's something that people don't like, and it's something that happens. But if you really like the stock and you're confident, it's not always the worst thing, a reverse split, because you can go in and buy a buttload of it at the price. But then it just raises the price. I don't know. It's up to you. It's a potato. So then we have another penny stock that was a former penny stock. NOC. NOC is doing things. Now, there's supposed to be this EPA meeting. So this NOC, great setup. So Trumperoni Cheese, he's hired all the usual suspects for the Environmental Council meeting. Doug Burgum, Chris Wright, the guy who believes in clean coal, and Lee Zeldin. So this is just a recipe for success because NOC, they're sitting on this Pebblebrook mine. And the Pebblebrook mine, it's got a lot of stuff. Pebblebrook mine. What is there? What minerals? It's going to be gold. It is the world's largest undeveloped copper deposit. Copper is huge for the AI revolution. They need so much copper, they don't even know where they're going to find it. They're going to find it in Alaska at the Pebble Work Project. But that one, this could be huge. We're waiting on that. Now, upon their approval, it's tricky because, well, see, they're going down because the approval, the EPA thing is coming up. I don't know if people are losing their confidence, but I wouldn't be, because that's me talking about it. More. I didn't know it comes up like this. Oh, Jesus. I should need to start being more professional. But anyways, the plan, once they start the plan, that's going to be big. Big, big, big. Pebble Brook approval, big. Okay, but then again, speculative. And upon approval, they will shoot like crazy. But then remember, that is totally undeveloped. So they're going to need money, Saudi partners, United Arab Emirates, and then it'll get to go. But it most definitely, this will shoot when upon approval and then drop upon less news, obviously. So keep that in mind. This one's really like a swing. Unless you could always stay in it though. Really, you could. I think, I don't know how much it will probably shoot. I don't know, a lot. But then I don't know how much I don't know if it'll go back down all the way to 93 cents again. So even if it does, if you miss selling it out, then you'd still be good, I think. But anyways, speculative. KULR, I don't care what people say. I don't care. I think the KULR is poised for a lot of growth, because these data centers, KULR, they have the safety licenses to work with NASA and other government ones. It's like a safety certification that not every tech company can get. This one, the AS9100. That is very big, because these aerospace companies and military can use KULR's technology, their battery technology, their cooling technology, and their anti-vibration technology, because nobody likes vibrations. And UAE Stargate. So Stargate is this plan they all have for all this data center stuff. And it's very likely, I think, that KULR is going to pick up something with the data center. They're going to back the UAE Stargate data center project. This was from yesterday. NVIDIA, Cisco, Oracle. Now KULR, they have a partnership working with distribution and integration agreement with EDOM, technology support in an AI ecosystem supply chain. So they're providing their technologies to these EDOM. And EDOM is in a long-standing NVIDIA channel partner. So this, I think KULR, I do not think they're going to be this cheap for long. And then you would have OPTT, which I always talk about because I love them. And they could definitely do some type of reverse split at some point, because I don't know what's going on. That was everyone's height. Nothing has changed about this company. They still have the same amount of deals. They have so many deals going for them. It's the fact that what holds back OPTT is their deals have to be secret. See, Ocean Power expands global reach. New government deal. We don't know who the government is. I'm almost positive it's the United Arab Emirates, because a month prior to this, Philip Stratman was talking about meeting with his United Arab Emirati partners. So this, dude, and we also don't know how much money it really was. Somebody had guessed it was, they looked through their stuff, and I think it was 73 or 6, I don't know, but we might never really know. Which is, I think it hurts them. I know it hurts them that people can't see which countries they're working with or how much their contracts are for. But OPTT, they have the Latin American one, and all of this deep sea mining. That is what OPTT's Ocean Power buoys do. They can make it so, like, people, military capabilities. Wait a minute, this Indo-Pacific one, they did an Indo-Pacific operation. See, here's the thing why I think it's set up against them. Because when other countries buy these military surveillance buoy drones, right, then they can't let another country, they can't really advertise that they have those in the water. Because then their enemy countries are going to be like looking for it, I would think. So that is what OPT, I think, holds them back from being truly recognized Like, if the Philippines are to buy these, that would probably end up being another country that can't really say they just bought them, because then that's just like advertising to China. But I don't know. I'm just kind of speculating. But when they do other things like the deep sea mining, then companies can say they're buying into them. And then you would have ONDS. This one's a drone one too. This one also does drone counter surveillance. So that is big. And I'm going to also say BBAI. And wait, BBAI, they have a website now. Well, they've always had a website, but they're actually like posting to it. They've posted to it to the last 2 days. And it's like, the one of them is talking about, wait, I have to actually find the one there. One of them is talking about their, their software on the internet, or their software,
security are critical.
This,
Big Bear AI delivers integrated technologies and consulting services that transform the
this is for their stuff at the airport, and I've seen these at the airport.
Long lines and traveler frustration can hinder the start of any journey. True Face, Big Bear AI facial recognition technology.
Facial recognition technology. They're going to be using that all over the place. I know it. This is BBAI. When you search, if you want to search stocks, you do a money symbol and then you do your ticker symbol. And that's how people tag stocks on X. And all these people post about the chart. And then I posted. People think I'm an idiot. I put that sticker there. That's my boyfriend. But anyways, I think this could be the most bullish. This is like, they're making investor thirst traps. I put it to a 2 Chainz song. Anyways, I like it. I think that's their biggest thing. This is a software, huge, Palantir software, and Palantir can't do everything. Palantir, they're very busy. They're doing worldwide stuff. So I think BBAI, they're going to be more the domestic one. And then Palantir is going to be worldwide. Obviously, Palantir is doing stuff too. But that is huge. And the part about their biometric readings, and obviously they have these class actions. Almost every company has this kind of things. It's just like freaking personal injury attorney. Look at how many lawsuits Google and Meta have. But anyways, and they even put over, the HUMA has them, Rocket Lab has them. HUMA has it for not even their fault, because it's not their fault. The FDA was being dicks and taking forever. So whatever, they'll pay that out however it ends up working. But, and also another thing, sometimes I think those lawsuits are done, I don't know, call me a conspiracy theorist, but sometimes I think it's to avoid, so retail investors avoid it. And then those hedge fund motherfuckers pick up all the shares. But that's just my theory. And I'm often delusional. Anyways, I wanted to look up BBI airports, because these airports, they're already doing this. And our government is talking about doing this, so it's only a matter of time. And then the Navy thing. Okay, they are going to modernize in the shipyard, the Austral shipyard, U.S. Navy submarine production. And on X, they had the new Navy guy with Pete Hegseth, and they were talking all about this, addressing the Shipbuilders Council, saying that they want to emphasize a strong maritime industrial base in a critical matter of national security. And then you're going to tell me that BBI's not going to get something from that? And you have Trump's big, beautiful bill has $1 trillion going to defense. So this AI defense is AI defense. This BBI. I am very, very bullish on BBI and on drone in box. And if you look at BBI, that's what the people were saying about their chart. How this is from the shooting up because they had already secured a DoD contract to enhance AI threat detection. Now, this CEO, Kevin, he took over around this time. He took over at the end of December. So as soon as Kevin stepped in, they pretty much received this DoD contract. And that one was for $9 million. But another problem with that is I've read that the DoD and the government is kind of known for not paying for their stuff. But I'm sure that Saudi money, UAE, Qatar, they're going to help. They're definitely going to help. And unique computer vision sets it apart from 3 AI. That's the other one. C3 AI? I don't think C3I would be a bad one. Look at them. If they could get their shit together, and I think Kevin is strong. I think he is. I think they could reach heights such as this. This is really down. That one, I hear good things about this company, actually. All right. Then, still on military stuff, Peraso. I'm confident in these guys. They have a patented encryption communication software. And they definitely have potential here. They do. Of course, I wouldn't say I'm as confident. I could be if I did more due diligence. Like, if I looked at their website, typically I like to know, if I don't know a company's CEO, I can't say that I'm extremely, extremely confident. Like, all the ones I really said, MBOT, HUMA MBOT, BBAI, HOVR, I'm not really know that CEO, actually. And then you don't really need it. OPTT, Philip, I like Philip. So, and then you also, well, I guess we could, about leadership. Something I like to do is plug all this shit into AI. Does Peraso leadership, we could say leadership or board, have any connections to, we'll say, PayPal Mafia? No, that's stupid. I don't know why I said that. Or military people. I don't know. I'm not doing a good job with this right now. I can't think of my toes. But I would look through their stuff and see who they have and how this guy, chief executive, previously served prior Intelon, Western Ontario, Aptera. You could look up these companies and see how they do. But prior to that, he worked as a system architect at Clear Semiconductor. You want legit people, but you know what? Who knows? People can always do shitty things if they're an up-and-coming company. But Peraso they were founded in 1991, so they've been around a decent amount of time. You could say that's something that goes for them. And they've been selling. They achieved a milestone. They sold this technology 2 million. They had 2 million of their Wave device shipments. That's pretty big. But they could have another little problem like OPTT has. And ONDS is getting that problem too, where they're making deals with countries or bigger defense contracting companies, and then they can't talk about it because they're one big deal. We don't even know what it is. But then they name drop NATO. Like they could end up, see this one. So a month ago, they got a big contract and nobody really knows what it is for or who it's with. But then for whatever reason, it says they could target the total addressable market of at least 3.44 active NATO military personnel. So this communication technology, I'm not exactly sure how it would work. If it's like something that each individual person needs or just how they set up the systems. But either way, patented, it looks to be selling 2 million in this contract. Peraso, I am confident. I'm confident on Peraso. And then other ones, BFLY. I'm always confident on BFLY. I don't care what people say. I really fucking don't. And they have portable sonograms. They also sell the systems to the sonograms. I always see them on Instagram ads. And I think this imaging, I think it's going to be big, especially as hospitals maybe lose funding. They have 145 plus customers around the world use Butterfly to elevate patient care. And then they also have a software that goes along with it that I've heard has it has a membership, a monthly membership. So it's only a matter of time before people start to really recognize BFLY again, because they had an up for sure. I thought they would go up more with their last earnings. Another thing that kind of sucked for them, which is I think what's bringing them down, is their asshole insiders are selling a bunch. But if you look, you have hedge funds adding. So 94 institutional investors added and then 58 decreased, and they had a revenue. If you go up to their revenue, the company reported revenue of 21 million. So I don't know. I think that is a lot. I think they did okay. They missed the estimate by only 350,000. People are so, I don't know. I don't know what people want from my little baby BFLY, but I think BFLY has a long-term potential. And these sonograms are powered by Taiwan semiconductors, and everybody loves semiconductors. So those would be, I'm confident on all of those. And I also want to be confident on LXRX, but I could definitely see them doing a reverse split. They did not have the best earnings. People didn't like their earnings, but my bet on LXRX is really, they do have some up and coming therapies, but mainly it's the development deal with Novo Nordisk where they're gonna do this weight loss pill. And I think that the exclusive license for the LX9851, and they're eligible to receive up to $1 billion upfront development. So, I mean, depending on how all this goes, they've gotten their first payment. So they just need the milestone, receive the upfront milestone of $75 million, and then they're going to be eligible for the $1 billion. So they're going to be totally developing it, regulating, and then doing the sales milestones, doing the sales. So this, clearly Nova might believe in them, but then obviously there's a lot of, this is a long road, okay? So you could say LXRX is definitely somewhat of a bet, because shit can go wrong. They are a penny stock. Nova could say fuck you, but if all things go well, that would be interesting. They have another therapy actually that they're gonna FDA. They have another therapy for something. FDA advisors vote against their add-on, but then recently they've gotten better news from the FDA that they're going to, I don't know if they accepted it, but if jumps amid takeover speculation, oh, that was a while ago. If their Lexicon's one drug gets accepted to be looked at for approval, that would certainly shoot them. And they were working on their data for that. So that one is interesting. Then you have this one. This is called Triller. And I think stands for the AGBA-Triller merger is value enhancing to all stakeholders. I didn't hear about this. Wait a minute. This is new. Wait a minute. Los Angeles. AGBA has become aware of a press release issue on April 23rd, which claims that BS is conducting an investigation. AGBA isn't aware of a similar? AGBA believes that the proposed merger with Triller Corp will create significant value for all shareholders, given the rapidly changing landscape in the social media industry. AGBA is confident that Triller is well positioned to capitalize on the unprecedented opportunities. The proposed merger represents a unique combination. What's AGBA? Because this is Triller, and they did have a rise. I'll be honest, I'm in this company solely because I am what? AGBA Acquisition Limited. When did this happen? Did this already happen? Hold on. You know what is weird actually? These articles, this isn't new. And then it's saying 11 hours ago. Sometimes I think stuff is fishy. Sometimes in a good way. When articles are like remade, well, not remade, but redated, because this is not new either. That's from 2022. But my Triller one is the fact that they are Triller, the boxing thing. And Conor McGregor is very involved and a stakeholder in the bare knuckle boxing thing. So I think this could be exciting. And the next bare knuckle boxing event is coming up. Bare knuckle boxing death. Potato, potato. Fights revealed for latest big bare knuckle boxing show in West Cumbria. All these bare knuckle boxing things could bring attention to the stock or investors for sure. And there is one at the end of June that's supposed to be a pretty big deal, I think. It's going to be one in Texas, and I think that's the one that Conor McGregor is going to be there. Jessica I. People like her, actually. So, and, wait, oh, that one is something else. Wait, is this Conor McGregor's movie? Any of these things I think could be interesting. This one, I have a smaller stake, but also the TikTok ban, because Triller basically is like a TikTok type app, and really nobody ever knows what is going to happen with TikTok. That's always very up in the air. And then another one that would be somewhat of a newer bet, and I wouldn't say is a SYTA, and they're going to merge with this other company. So this is when they signed the definitive agreement to merge with AI gaming developer Core Gaming. So Core Gaming would be a company that's not public listed that wants to be publicly listed. And now, because it's privately held, right? And they're going to have 80 million in revenue, this Core Gaming. But the thing that will make it, it will dilute the shares for the current shareholders in a way, because the SYTA is going to be own 10% of Core Gaming. But in the long run, these companies are basically like, they would be connected. So SYTA will issue common shares to the shareholders of Core Gaming based on an exchange ratio calculated at 160 million divided by the volume of I don't really know how to do all that. And okay, so that news, right, was from February 26th. So now, if we look at them, this would have been them when that news came out. They went up to $6.99 just on that news. And then notice a big old sell-off. Always remember that things sell off. That can be very hard for people to think about when they're watching a stock rise and rise. And then they're like, I'm going to miss out on this. I want to get in. You have to get out of the mentality, because sometimes I have to fight that mentality all the fucking time. But want to know what happened? I saw this on yesterday when someone gave this to me. And then I didn't fight it. And I got in at 11, and then it went up, and then now I don't know. I'm still agreeing on there. But I had a small stake, because what I want to do, I want to wait, because this was the news that shot them on Friday. It's saying this was Core Gaming AI is designed to know exactly what game users are playing and what users will play next. Do you see? This isn't really technically this is not new news, right? So now, if you're smart with this stock and you wait patiently, this was when it happened. This was when it was announced, right? So when you notice how much has went down since then, and I'm sure even after this news, it'll still go down. But it's plugged in the kitchen, but I don't know if it's all the way charged. It is. So for the long term, I don't know. You could see. You probably definitely want to sell out of this when they announce the merger. But, because wait, the company's revenue, this is for SYTA, right? Their revenue, 13 million. Oh wait, no, that's Core Gaming still. SYTA's revenue, I'm not really sure. See, it's going to say heavy dilution for current SYTA shareholders reduced to 10% ownership. But even 10% of ownership is of this revenue company, Core, is still going to be way more than what SYTA's sitting at now. So that's still, and they're going to be like connected to this company. You have the successful launch of AI comic app with over 300,000 users in first days. Diversified revenue streams through ads and purchase, strategic partnerships. That's big. So the merger reveals a strategic pivot as it requires Core Gaming, a company with impressive scale metrics in the mobile gaming space. The 160 million transaction will result in Core Gaming shareholders owning approximately 90% of the combined entity, while existing SYTA shareholders will retain 10% through a special stock dividend to be distributed within 6 months post-merger. Wait a minute. Here is what they mean here. They're saying that you will receive a special stock dividend to ensure that legacy SYTA holders collectively hold 10% of the combined entity's outstanding shares. So what will happen is, depending on how many SYTA shares you own, the exact number of additional shares you will receive will depend on the total number of outstanding shares in the combined entity and the exchange ratio used to allocate the 10% stake. This information is not detailed in that source, and the dividend is designed to top up your ownership to reflect the 10% allocation per legacy shareholders. For example, if the combined entity issues a large number of new shares to Core Gaming shareholders, your 100 shares, I used 100, your 100 shares may represent a smaller percentage of the total initially, but the stock dividend will adjust your holdings to align with the 10% collective ownership for SYTA shareholders. since core gaming shareholders will own 90% of the company entity, your 100 shares will be significantly diluted in terms of ownership percentage immediately after the merger, before the stock dividend. The special dividend is intended to mitigate this dilution by providing additional shares. Honestly, I couldn't even tell. If anyone knows what this means exactly, I don't think they really know what it means quite exactly. The value of your 100 shares before the merger depends on SYTA's stock price at that time. For context, posts on X mentioned SYTA's market cap is $6 million with a share price around 1.5 in May 2025, implying your shares, 100 shares, could be worth approximately $150. See, I'm not really sure. The merger value, the combined entity of 160, with core gaming strong revenue, 90 million estimated, and scale, 43 million monthly users, 790 downloads, suggests potential for increased valuation. If the market views the merger favorably, the stock price could rise, increasing the value of your shares. See, this depends on a lot of stuff. So the Seattle one, it's definitely a little bit of a complicated bet here. But if you wanted to, I'm playing this bet.